This video was made possible by EA Game Changers. What's going on, everybody? This is Ancap24, and in this video, guys, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about solo battles, as it's the new mode in MUT Ultimate Team. Now, we've got some exclusive Madden 19 footage that we're going to be able to get inside this mode, really show you what it's all about, and get you ready for day one to play the mode. So what we're going to do here is look at this featured opponent and kind of explain what this is and what this mode is. Each week, you're going to get 13 solo battles. One is going to be a featured opponent that gives you a battle score boost. What you do is you play the computer with your MUT Ultimate Team, and you're going to get scores based upon the outcome of the game. Each week, you're going to have 13 of them, and depending on your battle score, you go on the leaderboard in order to get MUT rewards, which would be packs and coins, just like you would with Weekend League. Weekend League, you're going head-to-head. This, you're going against the computer using your MUT team. As you can see, the teams are going to vary in rating, and they're going to vary basically depending on what they have as far as offenses and defenses. You can view your opponent's lineup by pressing the Y button, so you know exactly who you're going against each week if you want to go ahead and change your lineup to, stop a running back or stop a quarterback or whatever the case is. Each time you pick a game, it's going to have the ability to have a different difficulty. You're going to see there's ultimate, legendary, professional, and so on. Each one has a modifier depending on your score. They all have different difficulties. One's an all Madden competitive, all pro competitive, and then it goes down. Each one is going to be competitive all the way up into the amateur, which is going to end up being a different mode. Why that matters, it's going to be part of the strategy of the game. Depending on what your skill level is, it may have a better chance of scoring points on a different level. The way it works is that you're going to accumulate points as you play the game based upon what you do in the game. What that may mean may be score differential, yardage, the amount of touchdowns you give, the amount of touchdowns you give up. It could be something as simple as turnovers. There's going to be a lot of factors what comes into the game about getting points. If you are on the highest mode possible, you're going to accumulate 100% of your points. If you're on the one just below it, you're going to get 90% of the points. Now, where that comes into mind is that if I'm playing right now, as you see on the computer, I'm playing them at the ultimate level. That means I'm going to get every point possible. But say I only beat them by 4 points. Maybe I beat them 14-10. Now, would it have been more of a benefit for me to go ahead and play it on the next level and be able to get a 28-35 point win? That is the case. So you really need to figure out what your skill level is compared to what you're going against to get the most points possible. Now, let's talk about how you get points in this mode. Now, I've talked about, different ways as far as yards, touchdowns, point differential, stats. I've played this mode a bunch of times, and what I've found out as I've gone through it is that it's very hard to manipulate the scoring, okay? What I mean by that is I've tried to do it where all I did was score one play scores, let them score, and have a really high ability to get a lot of yards. And what you're going to see is that end up giving a point deduction because of the amount of points that I gave up, the amount of yards that I gave up, the amount of first downs I gave up. They don't give you a formula of what it is. I'm just talking from experience of I've had times where I've won by the same exact amount of points. I had more yardage. I had more one-play scores, but I didn't get as many points as I did when I moved the ball up the field. Sometimes I've noticed that a balanced offense gives you more points. So if you throw for as many yards as you do running, then sometimes that actually helps you. So what I basically want to tell you as a pro tip right out of the bat, try to play the game as realistic as possible to get the most points in that regard. Just because you can throw for 500 yards and do it in 10 passes and get 50 yards on average, and say you go ahead and score 35 points, that may not give you the same score as if you were able to complete more passes, at 10, 12 yards a pop and, have a little bit less amount of points. It's really a delicate number in which they've really put it in there to promote the best way of playing the game. So as you guys go through that, try to see what works for you. What is your magic formula? I don't believe they're ever going to release that. That's really going to be something that you're going to have to find that for yourself. But know that it is something that is out there that, you are going in a competition. You're trying to get more points than the next person, and there is a lot of strategy behind that. So I just want to make sure that when you go from day one, trying to manipulate anything to where, you let up a amount of points to try to give yourself more offensive. There is a relationship between offense and defense in this mode that you're really going to have to find what works best. So as I go through this game, you're going to see that I'm really just showing you all of the offensive drives. It was something that I was able to throw for over 300 yards. You can see that I'm 339 with 3 touchdowns here. And when I go and show you the points at the end, you're really going to see how this is going to end up. I did tell you that this is under the ultimate type of setting, which is really going to give you an opportunity to see those scoring. But when you go ahead and look at it, we're going to end up winning this game 28-0. It's a very positive result for us when it comes to the point differential, when it comes to the amount of yards that we let up on our defense. Unfortunately, I didn't have a whole lot of balance with rushing and passing, and it actually will end up in a way that will hurt my score, more at the end. You can see there's strategy behind the game. Sometimes if I would have scored that early, would I get one less completion? Would I get one less first down? Little things like that come into play when you're making a opportunity to get the best score possible. That's why I took a dive there. I was trying to also, get the ball to my running back, possibly get him a rushing touchdown. I haven't figured out if rushing touchdowns or passing touchdowns are worth more. The way I look at it, this game is kind of like a fantasy game. If you guys play in fantasy football leagues, always the points are more when you rush it rather than throw it. I didn't know if that's how it worked, so in my mind, this is how I was doing it. Unfortunately, you don't know. That's the thing, that there isn't a magic number that they're going to tell you at the end. But I think that kind of brings a little bit more to the mystique of the game as everybody tries their own strategies in order to get the highest score. So we're going to kind of head and finish this off here after this minute. We punched this in. I want you guys to take notice to right after we get this touchdown, we do get a nice celebration. I went ahead and clicked the team celebration, and you're going to see that we're going to able to kind of get something that's new in Madden 19 with these celebrations, and they kind of have a little bit of fun here. So take a moment to kind of watch this pan out. I do think that the team ones are definitely the more fun in my opinion. So make sure that you guys do that whenever you have the opportunity to really get that immersion that you're looking for, especially after you score that touchdown. So let's go ahead, and I believe this is going to be something that I fast forward here to the last play of the game, because it is important to also get defensive stats. Sometimes if you go ahead and hold a player to very minimal yards, you don't get your tackles, you don't get your ability to get sacks, interceptions, interception return yards. There's a lot. It's a really big formula in my opinion that is going to be something that you're really going to have to figure out how to play the game right in order to get the highest score possible. So now let's go ahead and look at the stats now that the game is all complete. You can see that's the post game right there. This is just a little bit of a summary of it. Won by 28 points, threw for 310, had 13 rushing yards. Now it said threw for 310. That's because I did have some sacks in the game. So it's total passing yards, not just what your quarterback throws. See, we got 8 first downs. You can see that we had a +1 turnover ratio. Now, things that I want to show you here is they have a stat for red zone touchdowns. Not sure if that comes into play or not, but because there's a stat line there, maybe you get more points for red zone touchdowns rather than one-play scores. Maybe that's a different high. I don't know. That's one of those things that I try to look into the formula, and the formula is really coming up with one number. I want to make sure you know that. That's the user skill bonus, because everything else looks like it's calculated. You get 1,000 for completing the game, which is important because if you don't complete the game, you only get one try at these games. So because you only get one try, you basically kill your chances if you try to restart a game. You got to finish every game you start. Then you get 4,000 for game result. In my opinion, that's probably going to be for the win. And then the other 5,000 that they tell you get a minimum 10,000 for a win is going to be showing up in the difficulty bonus section of the 5729. The reason why I say that is because 449 plus 280 equals 729. You add the 5,000 for the win. What you end up going to be on that number, I get a whole 100% of my points because I played on the highest setting. Now, if I was to play on a lower setting, I would only get 90% of the points or 80% of the points. So that's also what affects it. You add all those numbers together, you get that 11,458 number that you have on that green line. And that's the number that you're going to get for your total score. But really, the 449 and the 280 are what you really can control when you go into this as far as what your stats show. I'm going to say the 280 is probably going to be the point differential times 10, but that's hard to know. Now, what you're going to see here is what's really nice. They count these as solos. So you're going to get this, if you want to do 2 of these a day in order to, get your solo prize of the day, your objectives, you're going to be able to do so. And you're going to be able to kind of use this as something if you just want to grind daily to help you in that regard. As you see, once we play a game, it gets check marked off, tells you what your points are underneath. You look at the Texan symbol, it's going to show you 11,458. That is our result, and you're going to see how you're going to be able to do it. Now, keep in mind, the one that we did not have any bonus because it wasn't a featured game. Basically, this is the one it was just the way it is. So that's really the best way I can explain it for you guys. Make sure that you guys take note of what you did each time that you got your best score possible, so you can try to duplicate it as you go through these battles. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, please take a moment to do so, as we specialize in Madden gameplay tips and strategies all year long. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. We do appreciate you taking the time to do so. We will see you soon with some more exclusive Madden 19 content. Thank you.